Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, up and in! 1 point more to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
We're going 4 wide today on Duck Insider.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. Jordan, Jerry.
Joey. What?
Yeah, Joey's there in the corner.
What?
Let's go ahead
Where's
and get
Joey?
a shot of Joey.
He's back?
Thanks for joining us today, Joey.
Yeah, hey, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Joey.
Glad to be here today. Glad to be here making my picks.
Yeah. I didn't expect you. I really didn't.
Well, I made it back just in time. You know, it's just it takes a village. So.
I think this is better.
okay.
This
Oh,
is
it
even
might be
better
better.
than your Georgia impersonation.
And you, normally over here, the lights are a little bright over there. You may want to get some sunscreen on over there.
Oh, yeah, let me see.
Because it's
Yeah.
you didn't want to get.
You know, don't want to get burned when I'm out there doing the sideline reporting.
that's
That's
true.
right.
On a rainy day.
You still need the sunscreen during the daytime.
That's the
Yeah.
worst time because
Yeah.
the
When
it's
clouds
raining.
just
Are you going to
disperse
put
it.
some on tomorrow too?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Okay.
Every quarter.
I don't know how you fit so much in your pockets when you go down there. You have your sunscreen, you got your phone, water bottle, microphone.
Microphone. I got notes of what to
Notes?
you know, tell Jordan what to do. I got to tell Jerry what to do. I got to give Jorge all the stats from the when I'm down on the field.
14 batteries.
14 batteries in case the mic goes out.
And you haven't told the other guys this. The reason you wear sunscreen at night
Yeah.
is because the sun, even though it's on the other side of the earth,
Right.
it reflects off of the ionosphere, and we get the glare from the sun. Even though it's dark here, we don't see that. You get those rays,
Yeah.
and so you can get burned at night.
Well, we call that reflecting off the dome in the flat Earth. So, yeah, wherever you go, you're going to get it off that dome.
Okay, all right. Wow, I learned something today. Okay, well, that's all I got.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna
That
pick
was
some.
really good.
We're gonna pick some Pac-12 games. We're gonna talk a little Oregon UCLA coming up 12:30 tomorrow. Get your pregame coverage started 10:30. Jerry, I want your thoughts. Jorge, I want your thoughts. Joey, I want your thoughts. Jerry, I want to start with you. What are you looking at in this football game? Give me your overarching keys.
Well, I said this yesterday, and I really believe that the team that manages the ball as far as mistakes, or the game as far as mistakes, is going to have a much greater chance to win. It could be fumbles, it could be interceptions, it could be penalties, it could be, if you're UCLA, having trouble running your offense or defense because of the crowd noise. So I think the function of managing the game, guys, is going to be really important, and not beating yourself. Oregon can't beat themselves, and UCLA's got to be saying we can't beat ourselves.
Yeah, I think experience for me. Talk about managing a game, and Jorge, they're two of the best game managers in the country. You look at the completion percentage of these two quarterbacks playing, over 70%. They're not necessarily beating you 40, 50 yards down the field all the time, but in terms of facilitating and getting the ball to your weapons, these are two of the best we got in college football.
Yeah, I mean, they're two quarterbacks in systems that are they're quarterbacks that are tough to get to. That's the thing about it is, Bo Nix obviously has only been sacked once. I think DTR less than half a dozen times over 7 games. And so you start looking at that going, okay, is it that good a protection? Well, yes. but it also has to do with their legs, and they're dangerous both ways. As a runner, as a thrower, they've been highly efficient. They're not throwing interceptions. They're stretching the field. For me, when I start looking at this game, number one, I think Oregon's best chance in this is if you can contain, not shut down or anything else with DTR, but just contain him, keep him in the pocket, don't allow him to go off with any big plays. And then number two, whichever team is balanced best, whichever team makes the other team one-dimensional in this game, if they can do it, because both teams are incredibly balanced in run and pass. But if you can make a team, UCLA, Oregon, if you can make the other team one-dimensional, I think you've got a great chance in having to force it that way.
It's interesting you say that. There are a lot of new pieces on these two teams, differences between last year's game and this year's game. But if you do look at last year's game, I think the reason why Oregon won, Jorgie, is because they made UCLA one-dimensional. They took Zach Charbonnet out of the game,
they did. Forced
DTR to throw it. Oh, all of a sudden there is a costly turnover in that ball game, and we're done with it. Do you think that Oregon has the ability to do that again with this UCLA run game this season?
Well, I mean, that's the magic question, right? I mean, I've wondered that too. UCLA, to me, and I was on with Bill Riley from the Utah broadcast, Utah's play-by-play guy, and said to say hi to everybody, by the way, knowing I was coming over here for the show. But we were talking about this UCLA team. They look more physical than I've ever seen them look. And so the ability to take Zach Charbonnet away again and make DTR have to beat you, without Kayvon Thibodeau, who put a lot of pressure on him last year, beat him up, frankly, in that game, and to the point where a backup had to come in at the end of the game, and that's the way that Oregon sealed it. But it's going to be tough because these, again, are two very physical teams. They're very good at the line of scrimmage. They both have a level of toughness that is near the top in this league and in the West and in all of college football. It's going to be quite a battle. I don't know how to answer that. I think it's going to be tough.
The key to the game. Jerry, what else are you looking at in this game? Obviously, the environment could be a factor. Almost, UCLA's gone on the road. They've gone away from the Rose Bowl, but I don't think they've played in an environment like this one. When you're on offense and you're going up against this Ducks defense and then you get the crowd involved, it's like you're facing another defender out there almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fact. I mean, there's no way you can come into Autzen Stadium as a visitor and not be affected by the crowd noise. Some of the greatest players who've played college football, and even guys who've gone on to the NFL, I've heard comment this week about Autzen Stadium and how it affected their game when they were here. So it's going to affect UCLA to some degree. Now, you got Chip Kelly coming back. He knows it. He understands it. And you also got DTR, who's a veteran quarterback, who is not going to be as rattled. So the thing for UCLA is going to be how have they adjusted to the noise, because they practice with it, and how will DTR get the information to his offensive line? If Oregon starts jumping around and changes some things, how's that communication going to go? That's why I think the crowd is going to play a really big role in this game tomorrow. And we found out when Camden Lewis is kicking a field goal, get loud. Right? He doesn't want to be quiet because he can hear
doesn't want to hear the opposing sideline
yelling at him. Yeah, I thought that was funny on Wednesday night. Yeah.
Weather could be a factor too, Joey, huh? You got to dress warm down there on the sideline.
Yeah, I'll have my poncho on, and I'll have my clear sheet covering all my notes so that nothing gets wet.
Of course.
But, I don't know if that's an advantage though for either team because nobody's played in this weather yet, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of the kids on Oregon have, and I'm sure UCLA has too. But I don't think it's a factor either way. Not in this game, anyway.
Yeah. Are you wearing those goggles tomorrow, too?
I have to wear them to see, okay? I have a prescription, and if I need to see my notes or what's going on the sideline while I'm reporting for you guys, I don't want to give you bad information.
Can you hear us talk when the crowd is loud down there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you insulting me, yes.
Okay.
And by the way, did you say you're going to have your poncho or your ponchon?
Oh, well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
It depends on how many of the 500 donuts I eat when I go over the game.
Okay, there you
right?
go. All right.
One other thing I was curious about in this matchup, there's some phrases that you hear about these two teams. Like for Oregon, it's bad Bo Nix, good Bo Nix. I don't think that it exists anymore. I think we've seen consistent football from Bo Nix throughout the year. On the other side, for UCLA, some have called them the baby Bruins, and for me, that's also not true this year because they have some outside linebackers who can really get out after the quarterback. To me as well, I think the interior of that defensive line is a little bit better, And that's why they've been able to stop the run a little bit this year. It's going to be a crucial matchup for me. Oregon's run game against that front seven for the Bruins this week.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity, I really believe, for Bo Nix and that wide receiver group and the tight ends and the running backs to make some hay with the passing game, because I think UCLA is going to load the box. They'll go with 4 down linemen. They like to come on the edge. They'll blitz a lot. So, yeah, Jorge, you say it all the time. The trenches is where the game's going to be won or lost, and you think by both teams, huh?
Yeah, I do. But, I kind of felt that the same way from a physicality standpoint when Oregon went to Pullman and took on Washington State. And right off the bat established the run against that team. And, again, is that going to happen tomorrow with UCLA? I think this UCLA defense is much better, particularly up front. They give up a little bit more yardage in the secondary, and so is Oregon. Oregon's weakness, if you want to call it that, because each team shuts the run down so well, the opposing team has to throw the ball. They have to throw it, and so you're going to have more pass yardage, and we'll see if that plays out that way again tomorrow. But I love what Oregon did with a Washington State team that was really stingy against the run coming into it, even playing the likes of a Wisconsin on the road or what have you, and Oregon exploited it right off the bat. The ability to run allowed the ability to throw and vice versa, and that's really what you're trying to achieve tomorrow, because that takes a ton of pressure off of both quarterbacks if you can run the ball. If you can run it, man, that passing game really works.
The coaching staff, to me, the one overarching theme I've seen throughout the season is, here's a problem, we're going to go ahead and fix that problem and address it pretty quickly. You don't see that from an inexperienced coaching staff very often. That's a credit to Dan Lanning and his staff. This week, is there one issue that's there that you hope Oregon resolves? They have a good track record of doing that.
Wow, that's a good question. I think they've been able to adjust so far so well this year, particularly make those halftime adjustments and even early game adjustments. When teams were, gashing them on the run or hitting some long passes early on, you're thinking, oh, no, okay, what's the problem here? And then all of a sudden, Joy, it gets shut down, and Oregon's adjusted to that.
Yes, they have.
That's Joey.
Yeah, they have.
That's Joey.
That's why I wasn't listening. What was that?
Well, Joey doesn't listen either.
So,
Joey, you normally don't listen. So.
I was looking in the fridge. Sorry.
So full.
Get a Pepsi.
But Jerry, I think you're right on though. They have defensively. I think each week Oregon's defense has improved.
Yes.
Has gotten better and better from the standpoint of at the line of scrimmage, from a coverage standpoint, and frankly with the teams that they faced, which is what UCLA is very much going to be like, not just Washington State or Arizona or the way that Georgia took advantage of them in the early parts of the game, is getting. UCLA wants to get people out in space. Oregon wants to get people out in space and play a lot of screen games outside. I think what Oregon has seen over the last few weeks, tackling in the open field, being able to blow those plays up, maybe not against a quarterback that can also take off and go 40 yards on you just like that. But this team, I just think, has really improved week after week. Pass coverage, open field tackling, at the line of scrimmage, limiting big plays and that type of deal. They're going to have to do that tomorrow with UCLA.
Yeah, they will. 10:30 pregame. We're getting you ready here today. Other side of this break, we're going to go to our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. Sneak preview. The coin is not picking last. We're coming back after this on the Oregon Sports Network.
Why is that?
We'll get to it.
Okay,
Come back.
All right. Joey knows.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chris Jakimick, I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Jordan, Jerry, Georgie, and Joey. Guys, time for our weekly picks. Jay.
We're all Jays.
Jesus, how about that? Wow. And then when
Sounds good.
Joe Giansante was there, he was another Jay.
Yeah.
Jill. Wow.
Didn't really think about that.
A little alliteration here for the broadcast crew.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. Sylvan Ridge Winery proud to be Eugene, Oregon's first bonded winery with a heritage of hospitality that spans nearly 4 decades and 3 generations. Sylvan Ridge Wine Enthusiasts offers wine enthusiasts a diverse selection of wines representing the very best of the South Willamette Valley. Pretty embarrassing, guys. I'm going to be picking last today. Our order is Georgie, Jerry, Joey, the coin, and then me. So I'm just going to sit back and relax, I guess.
Did you hear that, coin? You beat him last week.
I was out last week. So did you take some chances? Is that when you started?
Well, honestly, the officials in the state of Utah, I want to check their birth certificates.
You can't blame it on the officials.
No, you can blame it on the officials.
On the flag.
Yeah.
The flag.
Good toss, too.
That's a perfect call. Perfect call.
I'll tell you what, those officials took that win away from the Trojans last week, and
thank goodness they did.
I was storming back. I was right on your tail, Jerry.
Yeah.
I was getting ready for a whole case of wine, but I've given up on those dreams now, so now I'm getting funky. I'm tied with Joey. So here we stand. Jerry has a 1-game lead, I believe. Yes, a 1-game lead over Georgie, 41-40. Wow. Joey and I are 3 games back at 37. The coin is all the way back at 27. But with the pace we're going at, the coin, it's going to catch me.
You're not very far back. You're still not very far back. You
not.
Guys are, tied for third's not bad.
But we're running out of season. I mean, we're over the halfway point.
Who's going first here?
Only 3 games to pick today.
Jogie.
Jogie. So you can
That's
defer.
a combination of Jory and Jogie.
You can defer, remember.
I know.
Okay.
I do know that.
Okay. First, what's our first game?
Let's start at 1 o'clock. Stanford, 2-4 Stanford, hosting 2-4 Arizona State. Vegas has this as a 2.5-point line. Stanford is favored at home. Georgie, what do you think?
I want to defer this first one off the bat.
Right off the bat?
Thanks for the reminder, though, but I had already had that in mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think that's
yes.
Joey, go ahead.
Okay, well, who's Stanford playing?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. So here we go. There's my pick right there. I'm going to go with Stanford. I know they're not the traditional Stanford that we've known over the last 10 to 12 years, but they're at home. I think they're better than ASU. I think it's going to take a village, and I think they have the village.
Wow. That was funny.
That was very well done.
Can somebody bring that picture back up of Joey again? If you don't,
great shot.
You know, you have some good days.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
I
Look,
mean-
I wore my sunscreen that day.
Look how supple your skin looks.
Look how
with
much younger I look
dimples.
right there.
That sunscreen you put there.
Thanks to Big E for that
Yeah.
shot.
Are we starting to see a receding?
Look at.
I think we're
bit of a hairline
fatherhood,
right there.
Once I
right?
became a
little
father,
bit.
you know, things start to fall
Yeah,
out.
there you go. Yeah.
So,
All right.
Okay.
But that's my pick.
You've grown your hair a little bit, though.
Thanks, buddy.
Haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Stanford.
Yep, that's me.
Jerry, what do you got?
Okay, Arizona State hasn't won in Stanford since they built the new stadium, I think.
Wow.
How long has the new stadium been there? Well, it's been since 2007, so it's somewhere back in there. Arizona State's not great. Stanford's not great, but they did go on the road and beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame's horrible. But I still think Stanford is kind of getting it together. I think they've kind of found the old Stanford magic, and I think they beat Arizona State. I'm gonna go Stanford as well.
That's a good pick.
Yeah,
2 for Stanford. I think it's the coin's
Oh,
turn.
coin.
Yeah,
All
I got to
right.
see what the coin has to say.
Home team. That would be the Cardinal. All right, there you go.
I wanted to pick Arizona State in this game. Trenton Bourget, he came into the second quarter. He throws 3 touchdowns. He won the Manning Award as the Sun Devils upset Washington.
Good.
And now he's not playing this week. He lost the job after that. So for that reason, I got to go with Stanford. I mean, hey, don't sleep on the Cardinal now.
Right.
They scored 24 points in the second half here at Autzen Stadium. Then they should have beat Oregon State if it wasn't for a miracle throw at the end of that game. Then they go to Notre Dame and get a win. So some momentum for Stanford. I think they get a win here. Their first Pac-12 win in forever. Yeah, I'll go with the Cardinal as well. Jorgie, you make up your mind yet?
Slowly but surely, Stanford's getting better, aren't they?
Yeah, they
I mean, it just amazes me how ugly they can win sometimes. They could have had 2 ugly wins in a row. Unfortunately, that one with Oregon State got away from them. But go to Notre Dame, playing really good defense. David Shaw's getting them together. I think they win ugly again. A really small crowd, but they win ugly again. It hasn't been fun, you guys, to see. Stanford obviously gets that win. Arizona State a couple weeks ago with Washington. The interim coaches, all the interim coaches countrywide, finished off by that Colorado victory last week, have wins, and we'll see if Arizona State can do it. But I still think that Stanford's going to beat them at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. So everybody goes with Stanford. Let's go to 5 o'clock on Pac-12 Networks. The Beavers at 5-2, hosting Colorado off their first Pac-12 win of the season. Jorgie, who do you have?
Well, I tell you, if this game was in Boulder, I might pick Oregon State. This game's in Corvallis. I'm picking Oregon State. So I guess I don't know what that really tells you.
What?
And if they lose, I'll never pick them again.
There it is.
You know where that is, too. Yeah. No, I think the Beavs are just too solid, even though, again, they're trying to really develop quarterback play. They're too good on defense at home. Colorado, that was a big victory for them last week, but I don't think it happens 2 weeks in a row. I'm taking the Beavs.
Who did the Beavers beat? Or who did
They beat Washington State
yeah.
recently.
Colorado beat Arizona State, right? Cal. They beat Cal last week, right? Yeah, that's not going to happen again.
No, they're not going to beat Cal because they're not playing.
No, they're not going to win again. That's my point.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
What's my there it is. Look at that. See that pick? Do you see that?
We're having too much fun. You realize that, don't you?
I like Jonathan Smith, though, as a coach. And I think he's got those Beavers where they haven't been in a long time.
You're picking the Beavers?
I'm picking the Beavers. I never said I would never pick the Beavers.
No, that was
you didn't?
Jorgie who said that.
I never said that. No. But
that sounded like you.
I'm going orange and black in that game.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay. It is almost Halloween, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Very close. Yeah. All right. That would be me. Oregon State's defense is impressive. Their offense is getting it done with no starting quarterback. Holy cow. I mean, so you got to give their defense credit. I think they held Washington State to like 10 points for the first time that the Cougars have been held that low since Noah brought the Ark on board. So I like Oregon State's defense. I think they control this game.
Coin.
Go. That's right. The coin is
embarrassing.
Look at that. Oh, tails. The visitor.
Buffaloes.
Wow.
Taking a chance.
Okay. Well, there's one thing that offends me more than a rival of Oregon and Oregon State, and that's rushing the field when you beat Cal. And that's what Colorado did. Tennessee rushes the field against Alabama. I'm on board.
Yep.
You beat the Heisman Trophy winner. You're rushing the field against Justin Wilcox? I can't back that up. I think they go to Corvallis and lose. On a serious note, though, I think Oregon State, I'm really concerned about their quarterback play. I think it's pretty bad. But they threw it 24 times. They completed only 12 passes, and they really dominated Washington State at home. Yeah. I think they'll get the job done. A good coach. They're going to take care of business this week. So I think we go Oregon State all around.
I'm going to defend Colorado in the rush in the field a little bit because with the change of coach, I think it was okay, we're starting all over again. Let's be excited again. Let's have fun again. Believe in me. Believe in this team. Got to win. Let's go. So I got that. I understood that a little bit.
Victory has not been tasted for a long time and on a regular basis.
No,
so.
It was really good. It was good.
Out there was as impressive as anything is the amount of people that were there.
Right.
Especially at the end of the game. And, again, with the stadium being right on campus, that maybe that allowed people to wander in as the game was close and they just left the gates open. But at the same time, the fact that people would show up and I mean, it was a big crowd at the end of the game. It was cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if they let the Buffalo rush the field with the fans.
That's almost
that would
happened
be
a few
fun,
times.
wouldn't it?
I mean, that Buffalo's gotten away a few times.
Oh,
we've seen
hospital.
That. Yeah,
that's for sure.
We've seen that.
That's a natural transition into our last game that we can pick.
Oh, yeah.
California loses to Colorado this week.
Sorry, we're just talking over here.
We were just trying to picture the buffalo running through parting the sea. The people, and all of a sudden they would go, whoa, like that.
Be a sight to see. Yeah. Cal hosting Washington this week. Jorgie, let's start with you.
Well, obviously that was not a good performance in Boulder by Cal. I think they're better than that, but they didn't play that way, and Colorado played they played good football. I mean, they did. They just played very inspired, played tough throughout. The game was close throughout. They made it really difficult on Cal's offense. Cal's defense, I think, is really solid, frankly, but right now their offense is not producing anything. Unfortunately, they're going up against a wide-open offense in Washington. Washington's defense not great, but I don't think they're going up against a great offense in Cal. And I think offensively, Washington's just too good. Too many athletes at too many positions with Penix kind of zinging that ball around that tape. I just think it's Huskies, and I think it's Huskies big on the road.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I can argue with that much.
Yeah, you could.
Cal's going to be mad because they lost last week to Colorado, but that anger's not going to translate into anything against this Husky team. I don't think they're not going to be able to score enough points.
That's the whole thing.
Just like Jorgie was saying, the quarterback is just too good. I think their defense is better. Me as Joey says Washington.
Jerry.
Okay. I may give Jorgie a chance here to make up some ground on me. Cal has some magic at home. I mean, last time they played Washington at Cal in Berkeley, Washington was ranked in the top 10 or 15, and they upset them. They beat them. Jackson Sermon, Peter's son. Peter played for the Ducks, so I get a little love there. Wilcox, I want Cal to win. Maybe that's it.
Oh, I
want Cal to win, and so I'm going to pick them.
Oh,
I am going to pick Cal to upset Washington in Berkeley.
What's the coin say?
The coin didn't say anything yet.
Cal.
Tails? Is that tails?
Washington.
Ooh.
3 for Washington, 1 for Cal.
Doggone it.
Yeah, Jerry's
Well,
opening the door.
Coin?
You got time to change, still.
I'm with you, Jerry, though.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Whoa.
Washington's got a Cal problem. And I'm doing this for Greg Walker, who in the booth yesterday said confidently Cal's going to win this football game.
Whoa.
SID for Oregon soccer. Great guy, Greg Walker.
Greg. Yeah, I trust Greg.
I've got no problem with it if it happens, okay?
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that.
Washington hasn't gone on the road and done anything. They went down to the Rose Bowl. They got beat pretty badly. And then they decorated. They made it look a little bit better at the end. They lost to Arizona State, 2 on the road. So they haven't done it away from Husky Stadium. I think also Cal in a rebound spot. They got embarrassed last week. I think they get up for this game a little bit. I think Cal wins.
I like it.
You're wrong.
Wow.
Okay, I think we got them all.
He's just wrong.
What?
He's just wrong.
Can't we pick the bye games? teams that aren't playing?
Yeah.
There's a game next Wednesday, by the way. So when are we going to pick that?
I have not looked ahead. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
There's a
next Wednesday. Should we pick it now?
Utah at Washington State on October 27th.
Oh, we should actually pick that this week.
And Joey's not. Oh, Joey is here.
I'm here. I'm right here.
I was going to say Joey. All of a sudden,
I'm texting myself to find out what I think.
What? I mean, I think we should, frankly, just because that's going to be tough just to pick a one-off in the middle of the week type of situation. Yeah, I was surprised when I looked at the schedule and I went, "What? Utah's playing Washington State on October 27th?"
Where's that game at?
At Pullman.
Ooh, that's a test.
FS1.
Utah's got a tough schedule this year. At UCLA, at Oregon, at Washington State, which we know is not an easy place to play. Jorgie, we'll start with you.
Well, I tell you, I think Utah is a really good team. I do. You know, first games of the season are funky for everybody. They were for Oregon against Georgia. They were for Utah against Florida on the road, what turns out to not be a great Florida team, but things happen funny early in the season. That win over USC last week that kept them alive. You know, they had one of those losses last year, too, at Oregon State, but they recovered well. They really finished off the season strong. Can't wait for them to come here to Autzen Stadium because that's going to be a huge game. But I just think Utah's a really, really good team. Struggled a little on defense because they played UCLA and USC back-to-back, two of the best 3 or 4 offenses in the league. But going to Washington State, I think the Cam Ward, Wazoo, whatever you want to call it, attack, spread attack, air raid, whatever you want to do, has been figured out by a lot of people. Oregon State's going to be that model for Utah. I'm taking the Utes.
Joey, does he have an answer yet?
You mean, do I have an answer yet?
Do you have an
I'm waiting for myself to text myself back, but I would go, if I was going to be a betting man here, I would say that Joey, would say Utah.
Okay.
Just because, you know, Utah just you watch them play. You watch them play.
Yeah.
They just look great, and I don't think Washington State can keep up, even if it's in Pullman. So, I'm gonna go Utah.
I don't. First off, let me say that this is a brand new week, and that I'm surprised that Jorgie didn't defer, but then he might not have been the winner this next week.
Yeah,
so
does
he
he
couldn't
have
defer.
a deferral?
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, you might
I
not.
will
have
next Friday.
Used it.
But I mean for next week, because this is next week's game. So I know that's okay. Just sit there and get ready for the break.
I got my sunscreen. I'm gonna get my sunscreen.
We're in uncharted territory.
Yeah, we are.
Some more of that on,
you know,
would you?
Cam Rising is worrisome. Washington State, you know, best in the Pac-12 in sacks, quarterback sacks, top 10 in the nation. That, you know, gives me, you know, some pause to think about this. But I think Cam Rising is probably a little too much of a scrambler, too much of a make something happen, and Utah's defense is good enough. This is a tough pick. I don't know if I believe what I'm going to say.
Say it.
Should we get a break first and come back? You give me some time to think about it.
Let me think about this.
Let's get a
No,
break.
don't take a break and don't give him time.
You're holding us hostage here, Jorgie.
Okay, go ahead. Take a break.
We'll take a break. We'll come right back. Jerry's thoughts after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Wrapping up our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks because Utah and Washington State play on Wednesday next week. We're getting ahead of it. We're picking it now. Jerry couldn't decide before the break. Have you made up your mind?
Yes, and that's my pick, and I am sticking to it. So are we going with the coin now, or?
What was your pick?
Oh, did I not give it to you?
No, I don't think so. Was it Utah?
I'm going to go Washington State. Gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Washington State, Cougars, at home. I know Utah's really good, but I just – Cameron Ward slinging the ball all over the place, and I just think they might be able to stay and play with Utah, and if they can play with them early, they'll be there late.
You're taking some risks.
I'm taking some risks.
Yeah,
I am. But I think in a way that's how I've gotten to where I am in the leaderboard is by taking some risks. So I am going with the Cougars.
Jorge, you like Sylvan Ridge wine?
Hey, it's not his yet. No, come on. He's not one yet.
Just kind of.
I think you're getting
You're not a winner yet.
I don't know if these are sympathy picks or if these are really serious picks.
Okay, the coin's going to pick.
Has Joey picked yet?
Ooh, Utah.
I'm going to go with Utah, too. I think it's not going to be the same environment that we saw for the Ducks. They went into that Oregon game undefeated. There was real juice in the crowd, real hope. I don't know if that's there anymore. So I think Utah, it's an easier road trip. They play at altitude all the time. I like the Utes. And, Jerry, you're alone on that.
Well, not yet. I'm not because the show's not over, and I'm still. I reserve
no,
the right
I don't
to
think
change
you
my
have.
Pick.
No, I don't think that's right.
The show's over?
No, the show's not over, so I can make my pick.
You don't get to the show's over, do you?
Yeah.
Did we vote on that?
Yeah. George, you speak up.
I think we do.
Yeah.
I don't think that was.
Well, until our segment is done. So
segment is done.
Segment.
Yeah.
Okay. Segment is done.
Segment.
After I make my pick. Change, which is to Utah.
Oh, look at that!
You guys scared me to death.
We're gonna have to review the tape there.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, Utah, go Utes.
Did you pick
Go Utes! Come on, baby.
Did you pick Washington State, Jorge, or Utah?
I took Utah.
Okay,
Everybody. Utah.
Way to make it boring, Jerry. Thank you.
The anticipation, though, that was great.
We're going to get to Maliki Matavau, who talked with the media in a couple minutes. But first, I want your final thoughts heading into tomorrow's game. Really, the only game on the board that's a must-watch in the Pac-12, in my opinion. UCLA, Oregon. Jerry, what are you thinking about?
Well, I want both teams to play well. I want this to be a marquee game that when it's all over, certainly we want the Ducks to win. But when it's all said and done, I want the nation to say, wow, how about the Pac-12? How about Oregon? How about UCLA? I think that would be a win for the Pac-12, and that's going to help whoever at the end of the year maybe make it to that CFP. So I think it'll be Oregon. I know we can't pick, but I just like Oregon's chances. I like the way they're playing. They're at home. I think the crowd makes the difference.
Yep.
Jorge, this could be their biggest test since week one.
I mean, that's my whole thing right there, what Jerry just finished with, and that is it's going to be a back-and-forth, ebb-and-flow type of game, but make sure the crowd, and the crowd will be, I have no doubt, will be in it from the get-go, and the Ducks will keep the crowd in it from the get-go and throughout the game. And when that happens, this place is unbelievable, out of control. And the Ducks, I just feel, can't be beat when that type of situation happens. And, again, UCLA dangerous. They're going to make some plays happen. They always do. But at the same time, Oregon, I just think getting this crowd into it, the way that they're going to be into it, it's going to be awful tough to beat this Duck team here at Autzen Stadium tomorrow.
Can't wait. I'm juiced. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight, guys, honestly.
No,
10:30 pregame with Terry Johns, Jerry, Jorge on the call, Joey roaming the sidelines. We're here. It's happening.
Game day.
Let's go.
Yeah, game day's here.
Let's
How
go.
about that?
Got a break. Maliki Mataval, an interview with Oregon tight end after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Thanks, guys.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, back inside the Country Financial Studio. Thanks for being here with us on a Friday, getting you ready for the game tomorrow. Let's go to Maliki Mataval, a tight end for the Ducks, part of that deep tight end room, having a good season so far. We'll get to Mataval, and then in the last segment, we'll preview the volleyball match tonight with Coach Ulmer. Here's the tight end of the Ducks.
How was the softball game last night? What was that experience like?
It was cool. It was my first one I've been to, but it was just cool that they're remembering Spence, so it's always good to keep them in our thoughts.
Did you watch football on Saturday?
I did.
What games?
A lot of football. I watched the Tennessee game, watched the USC game. Just really turned on whatever was on, but those are my two favorite ones I watched this weekend.
Were you able to kind of watch it like a fan? Because I was talking to Bennett yesterday, and he's like, I was so analytical, like I was looking for plays and stuff. Like, how was that experience like for you?
I agree with him. Like, I was just watching, how Tennessee ran the kind of that switch verse to number 11, and how he was just, eating the deep ball against Alabama. But it's just, you can see it as a fan, but I also saw it as analytics. Like, I've seen what they're playing, how their tight ends are playing. Just kind of just picking bits and pieces and add it to my game, know what not to do and such.
When that happens, like, do you ever see something and then you go to like a coach or team that's like, I saw this, whatever, like maybe not a coach, but like, does he give you ideas ever?
Yes, like sometimes I see a clip or whatever, I either screen record it or I find it on whatever, and then I send it to my coach. I'm like, hey, look at this, like this is kind of cool.
Have they ever kind of taken that into account, or is it just like, we'll see?
We'll see. It's like we'll see, but we've talked about it. If it's in there, it'll get in there, but
Right. Is it more difficult to do that when you're watching USC and Utah? We'll see Utah later, and you might see USC. Is it difficult to kind of watch as quote-unquote a fan?
I guess it is hard to see it as a fan because we're going to be playing against them and I want to beat them and we will, but also it's good to sit back and just relax and enjoy the game of football. It's a sport I love. It's what I do. It's my life. So
how different a player are you compared to playing these guys last year? Like 1 year ago against UCLA versus the player and the blocker you are today. How different are you?
I'd say a lot different. This new coaching staff took a new approach to how everything is handled, and I switched up everything, and I can see it change momentumly in my game. and I can see myself progressing even further down during the season. So,
what were some of those differences? The difference of approach you mentioned. What were some of those things?
Hand placement, working more on like technique, footwork, kind of just working more as a tight end blocker, not like an attached alignment. Kind of like using what tight ends have instead of what O-line uses instead of blocking.
The buzz around this game is as big as we've seen for you guys since the Georgia game. What do you think you guys learned in that whole process, getting prepared that's made you better prepared for this week?
Just fighting adversity, and kind of our thing with this week was just, control what you control, and that's what really that Georgia game really kind of set out for us. Like, forget everything else, control what we control our effort, control our physicality, control, our assignments. Just like as long as we do that, we'll come out good.
Going off that, and I know it's been a while, but what do you remember in the hours and days after that game from like landing in terms of his demeanor?
Honestly, he took it. We put it back as our team. We learned from it, and we kept moving forward. There's no shift and change. It wasn't acting crazy or anything. It was just like, come on, it's like next week, let's go. We have a bigger plan, bigger picture, and just keep on going. And since then, we haven't been stopped.
Did you see any teammates that maybe were at risk of kind of getting down about that, and that he was bringing them up a little bit because of that? Or
I think he kind of just adjusted as a team. Like we're all in this together. There's no I. There's just like we're in this together, and it's just kind of more like we're gonna do this as a team. It's not that kind of thing.
I'm sure you've seen the uniforms. Just again, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
I'm excited. I remember way back when they had the pink uniforms, but it's just cool that I get to put them on. I'm really excited.
What is the relationship you have with Cam mean to you?
It's huge. He's kind of like the big brother, the uncle. Like, I don't know, call him Unky Inky, but he's really the role model in our room. Yeah, he teaches us a lot of, what he learned in football, but also like tips outside of everything. Handling my credit and doing all that stuff, like the real man stuff. So,
what's it like to learn of his actual story over time? Over how much you do now? You don't get into the details.
Yeah.
But like to actually know beyond Cam, the injured football player.
Yeah, he's a lot more than just what you said, but he's a great human being. Kind of like the example that I think everyone should have. He leads by example, and he's just a great human overall.
I know connection has been a big theme for you guys. Looking back at fall camp, or even in the spring when you were here going through it all, how do you feel like that piece has really brought you guys to where you are today and helped you find improvements week after week?
Definitely. Connection's, I think, the biggest part of our program. Really, it brings us to own our mistakes, own what we do wrong, but also like it brings our leaders up, and we can really fix our mistakes and not get down on each other. It's just like, you did this wrong, let's go, pick it back up. And it's just not like a snarky response. It's like, yeah, I got you. It's like we got each other's back.
Do you have a personal, like a time where you can remember that specifically, like you thought of that when something happened to you, or maybe you're a conflict with a teammate, anything like that?
I could think of a lot. There's plenty of times where I'm like, I thought I totally saw the signal. I'm trying to blame the signaler. I was like, I thought it was the wrong signal. Bo's talking to me. He's like, come on, just snap out of it. If the wrong signal, it's wrong signal, but it's just next play mentality. You can't make it mess up the whole series. So,
what have you seen from UCLA's defensive front so far this season? Not to 6.5 sacks coming into this. How do you try to work on that as a tight end potentially in those pass block scenarios?
Just definitely knowing our strengths and our abilities, and just not let the hype of everything else. Just play our game. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just come in there, do our job, and we can come up top.
Maliki Mataval with the media earlier this week. A lot of times this matchup has been defined by speed. I think more so than ever, this is going to be a physical matchup, and that's where guys like Maliki Mataval can make a difference in this football game. We'll get a break, come back. Matt Ulmer previewing the entire weekend against the Mountain Schools after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Thanks for being here with us. Big match tonight at Matthew Knight Arena between Oregon Volleyball and Utah. And then Sunday at noon, Colorado comes to town. So make it a whole weekend. Matt Ulmer met with the media, talked about how his team overcame some struggles down south and got a win against UCLA, and previews this entire weekend. Here's the head coach of Oregon Volleyball, Matt Ulmer.
Couple weekends now with Elise as your setter, just how much more comfortable do you think everybody is operating with her in the middle there?
Yeah, I mean, you're just changing your quarterback, right? So I just think there's a different rhythm. I think there's different choices, that are made that maybe Hannah would do differently. So I think it takes a little bit of time just to get used to that. Elise is an excellent setter. Again, we're blessed to have the depth that we've had. I think she showed that this weekend. I thought she was great. And offense was not why we split this weekend, right? Offense was good enough to go 2-0. But I thought Elise, did her job, and I think we do look a lot more comfortable. Yeah.
You said in previous weeks that, your depth was going to be a benefit, as long as the people who might not have been in the rotation then kind of rose up and were challenged by that and challenged the other people in the lineup. How did Elise handle that? Obviously, you were using her to, to take advantage of her serve and things like that. But how did she keep herself ready for this?
Yeah, I really didn't see any difference from Elise. So I think she just was very steady. She just did what she did. I mean, she's very confident in her abilities, which as a setter, you want her to be. And I want her to be that way also. Again, for a few weeks, our toughest competition was the other side of practice. And I think that's a pretty neat thing, and that's led by Elise on that side. So now she gets her chance, to be with the starting group, and I think she's making the most of it. And she's a great leader in our department, in our community, let alone our team. So I think she's ready for that.
A lot of buzz, obviously, with game day being here before the football game. I mean, soccer's at home, you guys are at home, football's at home. Do you feel like you guys can kind of benefit from that energy? Obviously a great crowd Friday will tell the true tale, but can you guys benefit from that buzz?
I mean, I think what we've seen from our group is we like big crowds, especially at home. I thought we played some of our best volleyball at that Stanford match. And then the Arizona's next weekend, good crowds, and I thought we looked really good. So I think we would like that, game day here again. We're University of Oregon, man, Ducks, football, big game against UCLA. Colorado and Utah, I think, are both tournament teams, for us this weekend. So that's huge. I think we just played, 6 tournament teams in a row. That's what we do. And so we get to be home to do that, and we're excited about that. But yeah, I think everybody's excited to be here in town. It's going to be a busy campus and a lot of good energy.
The whole, since fall camp, we talked to your team. They were very provident about, winning a Pac-12 championship. And when you have one of your starting players go down, just do you feel like the team has reacted to that? I know those first 2 games after, hard mentally, emotionally, losing in 5, but after this past weekend, how do you feel like they've reacted and kind of overcome that adversity?
Yeah, I feel like people try to do more in different areas to make up when, again, the belief that Elise is really good. And again, she's shown that. But just keep playing your game. And when we play our game, we're really strong. And, again, the timing of then you go right on the road and you play at Wazoo and in Washington, our best days, those are tough matches for us. And I thought we played well enough to win both of those, and we didn't. But I think we were just pressing. I thought our serving the last 2 weeks was horrible, and it really just put us, in a really tough place. We sided out great, both weekends, but just not enough defense for us, which is shocking to say that because we've been, I think, one of the best defensive teams in the country for a little while now. But we just didn't serve well enough, and then our defense we were just leaning back on that. So I thought third set of UCLA, when we were down, Brooke went back and had a nice service run for us. And I thought she kind of changed the game for us. And then Elise Gee followed that up. And then Daly McClellan followed. And then you could kind of feel that momentum of we're kind of getting over it and just getting back to what we do. Colby Neal and Morgan Lewis came in, and they provided really good defense with their block for us. And then all of a sudden it kind of looked like us again, with a really good offense. But now our defense is doing what it needed to do to slow them down enough. And I think we just kind of had to get over that, and it was just kind of a long period for that to happen against 3 really good teams on the road. But I think we looked more like us those last few sets, and hopefully that just carries over.
Sorry about that. Matt Ulmer talking with the media ahead of tonight's 6 p.m. matchup with Utah. Wants to give you some final reminders about College Game Day. Tomorrow morning, if you are planning on getting out there, there are some incentives to do that. 500 donuts will be distributed to fans around if you get there at 5:30 a.m. A swag bag will be given out every 30 minutes to a lucky fan starting at 6:30. A fan with the best sign will win free tickets from Coach Lanning. Coach Lanning's tickets. And, the guest picker, Sabrina Ionescu, going to be there at the conclusion of the show. Just a lot of incentives to get out there. 500 Dutch Bros gift cards will be passed out to fans at the conclusion of the show. That is so exciting. And wear your togas. Let's go. Everybody chanted toga. Jerry, I want to see you in a toga on the broadcast tomorrow. Not going to happen. I tried my best. Thank you to everybody. Jorgie, Jerry, Joey, Scott, Ryan, Mitchell back in studio. Go Ducks, everybody. Big day tomorrow. We're getting out of here. Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting